Chicago Sky, y'all stink, bro. Y'all, look, there's trash and then there's trash. You know what I'm saying? But look, man, the Chicago Sky got destroyed by the stud buds. Everybody watches the stud buds. Shout out to Courtney Williams and Tisha Eiderman, man. Listen, stud buds stood on business today. Nafisa Collier stood on business today.
Angel Reese turned the court into an all-you-can-eat turnover buffet, dishing out 9 like she was Oprah on giveaway day. You get one, everybody gets one. Meanwhile, the other squad wasn't just hooping, they were clowning. This wasn't basketball, it was improved comedy in sneakers. The game morphed into a highlight reel of bloopers, with Angel as the headliner. If Swagger ever had a meltdown on live TV, this was it. Forget a loss, this was a live roast, and the smoke is still hanging in the air.
Had 9 turnovers. You listen, y'all gotta stop with this point forward foolishness, man. Let's take a look, man. Hold on, man. Y'all be wildin', son. Bruh, come on, man. Y'all gotta stop, yo.
Angel Reese was 1 turnover shy of the worst kind of triple-double. Yeah, you heard that right, 9 turnovers. That's not a stat line you frame, that's one you pray gets lost in the archives. She was handing the ball out like a charity drive for the other team. You look gassed? Here's a possession. Need a spark? Enjoy this free fast break. It wasn't messy, it was historic, and not in the way anyone wants their name etched into the record books.
Entire WNBA and Angel Reese in garbage time. We saw it. Angel Reese last year against the Fever with like 2 minutes to go. She needed to I think it was like 6 points and 3 rebounds, and she went and caught like 2 rebounds and then immediately goes up victorious.
At this point, the only logical explanation is that the coaching staff is in on the bit. This isn't basketball, it's performance art, a live sketch on how not to run an offense. Every time they try to run a play through her, the paint turns into rush hour gridlock in LA. You can almost hear the hardwood groaning, please, no more. She parks in the lane like she's setting up a campsite, and as for the pick and roll, forget it. The only thing rolling is the ball into the opponent's hands.
After this opponent gets close to her during a box out, grabs her by her hips, and hip tosses her, throwing her to the ground. She stands up, she walks over to this opponent, bends over, screams in her face, and flips her the double bird. That's the WNBA gold. We're gonna get into it. And the laughter, oh, Angel. Oh, my angel, you're my darling, angel. You've been playing well, Angel, I give it to you, you've been playing well. But every now and then, those stinkers, oh man.
So instead of admitting the offense is a train wreck, they slapped her with the cutesy title of facilitator, which would be perfect if this were a preschool passing drill, not the professional league. In reality, facilitator just means, please, for the love of basketball, don't shoot. Hand it off and pray. Because when she's not tossing it away, she's bricking shots. When she's not bricking, she's flailing like she's caught in a wind tunnel. And when she's not flailing, she's traveling, on the court and mentally, drifting miles away from the basket.
Absolutely no foul in that. She gets a good whistle, jumps up, and then goes at somebody on the other team. Who's she go at? She goes at Diamond Miller, her former Maryland teammate. And like Angel's 1 tackle off a suspension as well. And is like, anytime anyone gets into it with her, she's straight in their face. And I'm like, I don't mind that, but you just gotta be smart. To be fair, this guy sucks, so you might as well just go and take your I'll say it.
At this point, it's not just a couple of bad games, it's starting to feel like a full-on basketball conspiracy. Nobody wants to say it outright, but let's be honest, Angel Reese has been flat-out terrible. And not, rookie growing pains, terrible. We're talking, how is she still in the rotation, terrible. Lawn ornaments move quicker, scarecrows have better grip. Yet somehow, there she is, clogging the offense like old gum jammed in an ATM slot. And heaven forbid anyone sit her. That would be waving the white flag, exposing all those puff piece headlines and recycled highlight reels for what they are, smoke and mirrors. So instead, they plant her at the top of the arc, flailing her arms like she's directing traffic in the middle of a blackout. Meanwhile, her teammates are scrambling like it's a fire drill, desperately trying to salvage the possession. But don't be fooled, there's no play being run. The only thing getting executed is another blooper-worthy turnover. Sure, the ball leaves her hands. Problem is, it usually lands right in the opponent's.
Just when I thought Angel Reese was graduating from pretend basketball player to make-believe basketball player, the level where it's almost believable that Angel Reese is a basketball player. Just when I thought Angel Reese would pull through in the clutch and do America a favor. With a win last night against the Minnesota Lynx, Angel Reese would have become the most popular player in the WNBA dunk. Well, KC, that's simply not possible. Caitlin Clark will always be the most popular.
And here's the real tragedy, you can actually watch her teammates adjusting to her flaws in real time. Just study the floor spacing. You'll see the hesitation, the pause before anyone dares cut in her direction, like she's a basketball black hole. Nobody wants to be the next casualty of a wild pass, a blown screen, or a dribble that somehow ricochets off her own foot. This isn't strategy, it's survival. They are not running plays, they are dodging disasters, and the irony. It's brutal. For all the hype about her leadership, grit, and championship pedigree, Angel Reese has become dead weight. Not an anchor you build around, the kind that sinks the whole ship while everyone's still fumbling for life vests. We're supposed to believe 9 turnovers are part of the learning curve. Please. That's not development, that's a full-blown basketball identity crisis, and just standing in the dunker spot while a teammate gets trapped by 2 defenders? That's not spacing, that's obstruction. Right now, the only thing Reese is setting up is fast breaks for the other team. She's not a creator, she's a plot twist. And not the feel-good underdog kind, the kind that wrecks the whole script.
People are defending this. Let's get into it. Nneka Ogwumike, she gets up, proceeds to get boxed out, unable to move her opponent out of the way. Nneka Ogwumike retaliates, grabs her by the hips, throws her to the floor, stands over her, screams on her, flips her the double bird. Quinterly, Dallas Wings teammate, being a good teammate, gets in the middle of the two, pushes Nneka out of the way like a good teammate should. Instead of saying, Nneka, come here, let me get you a hug. No, get up off my teammate, girl. Get up off my teammate. Nneka.
You know things are unraveling when the other team is actually rooting for her to get the ball. They are daring her to shoot, practically begging her to take control, because they already know the punchline. You can almost picture the opposing coach leaning back with a grin, muttering, "Let her cook," fully aware she's about to serve up a cold mess with the smoke alarm already blaring, and don't even start on transition defense. Watching her chase down a play after coughing it up is like watching someone run a marathon in house slippers. Technically, she's moving, but it's pure theater. The body language says, frustrated, but the fire isn't there. It's intensity without impact, just noise, no bite, which brings us right back to the bench. The coaching staff has to see it. You don't sit through this many offensive implosions and decide, yep, let's keep doubling down. That's not a strategy, that's wishful thinking in a jersey. They are hiding behind the buzzword of player development, propping her up as a decoy while praying nobody looks too closely at the box score. And still, the charade continues, cookie-cutter praise at press conferences, hype reels with cinematic slow-mo, always cut a second before the turnover.
Would have surpassed the Rue from Waterloo in popularity. Now, I am not saying that her dozens of aliases would have passed Caitlin Clark, but Angel Reese herself, she definitely would have. Going into the game last night, Cheryl Reed, the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, she told the doofus duo who refer to themselves as stud buds, she told them if they lost this game to the Chicago Bravado, they would no longer be allowed to.
The whole setup feels like a masterclass in distraction. Trim the footage, drop in some dramatic music, and hope nobody checks the scoreboard, or notices that their so-called superstar tripped over her own hype while the team got blown out. Meanwhile, the rest of the squad, the ones who can actually shoot, move off the ball, and read a shot clock, are getting pushed aside to protect a brand. Because let's be honest, this isn't about winning anymore. It's about saving face. Nobody wants to admit they bet on the wrong horse, and that's the real tragedy. Angel Reese never asked to be overhyped, but now she's trapped in a narrative that feels more like a fairy tale than a stat sheet. The only real triple-double here is hype, delusion, and denial. Some fans see a routine double-double and act like she cooked up a gourmet 30-piece special. But if you actually watch the games with your eyes open and your brain engaged, you'd see the truth, not dominance, but disaster. Sloppy, unfocused, and wrapped in overconfidence. Angel Reese's box scores are like viral headlines, flashy, exaggerated, and completely misleading once you look past the surface.
Is currently about to be suspended. She has 7 technical fouls on the season. And if this was last season, in a 44-game season, she would have already been suspended. And it is genuinely one of the funny things about this is that her fans are arguing that none of the techs are warranted. They are.
Let's be real. Yeah, Angel Reese gets rebounds, but half of them are off her own misses. She bricks it, then just waits for the ball to bounce right back like it's on a leash. We honestly need a new stat line, self-clean-up boards. Because snagging your own airball isn't hustle, it's damage control. That's not dominance, that's janitor duty with a headband, and those points she racks up. Don't let the box score fool you. They aren't coming from smooth offense. Half the time, the team is forcing her into the playbook like their season depends on it. It's painful, like watching someone jam a square peg into a round hole while the shot clock gasps for air. They feed her the ball like she's Prime Shaq, but she finishes like her controller just disconnected. Every shot is a dice roll. Every possession is flirting with a turnover. Sure, if she takes enough swings, she'll stumble into 10 points, but that's not efficiency, that's volume. The ball leaves her hands with all the blind optimism of a kid tossing confetti and praying it turns into gold. Pretty for a second, then reality smacks it down. And you can see the defenders breathe easier every time she tries another creative pass straight into 3 defenders, like they're about to say, "Appreciate it, fam."
Player in all of basketball is out here slapping clipboards out of her coaching staff's hand because she's so mad her team committed a foul in the crunch after she shot 15 free throws this game. This is the lowest of the low disrespect that you can show to your coaching staff. She trying to get y'all locked in, worried about the next play, and you so toxic with your terrible, awful attitude that you.
And yet somehow, she's being pushed as the face of the WNBA. But let's be real, what face are we talking about? Because if we're being brutally honest, she's closer to the warning label. Want to learn the pick and roll? Skip the Angel Reese highlight reel. Need a crash course on defensive rotations? Close that video before it does permanent damage. Looking for a live tutorial on how to kill your team's momentum with one blind drive into a wall of defenders? Congratulations, you've found your role model. At this point, watching her play feels more like modern art. Call it how to derail an offense without even touching the ball. She'll stand planted in the paint like a statue nobody asked for, then take 5 full seconds to launch a shot like she's winding up a medieval catapult. And when she finally does get a touch in the post, her teammates scatter like the ball just burst into flames, because they already know the options. Either she's chucking up some off-balance prayer that misses everything, or she's firing a jump pass straight into the stands like it's a giveaway night for sections 101 and 112.
Just want to talk about this chick, Angel Reese, for a second. She has been all over my timeline, over my Twitter or X, Instagram, TikTok. She's always pushing people and this and that. She's always in controversy. So let me address this situation real quick. How is she a professional athlete? Like, can we step back for a second and just analyze this situation? How in the world is this chick a professional athlete? She is, out of all the clips that I've seen, she is the worst basketball player.
But the hype still lingers. Sure, Angel Reese dropped 14 points and grabbed 12 boards, nice looking stat line. But behind it? A complete train wreck of ball movement. It's easy to pad numbers when you're logging 30 plus minutes and the offense is funneling through you like spoiled milk in a busted blender. At some point, the box score stops mattering when the eye test is screaming, nah, this ain't it. There's a difference between true impact and empty inflation. One wins games. The other just makes the stat sheet look decent after your team gets blown out by 20. Sadly, Reese lives in the second category. Her game is junk food, fills the box score, gives the team nothing back. It looks like she's eating, but really, it's empty calories, like snacking on packing peanuts and calling it dinner, and don't even start on the attitude. The over-the-top celebrations after a basic layup while trailing by double digits. The trash talk after hitting a free throw while the scoreboard is on fire. It's confetti on a sinking ship. Swagger is fun if you're delivering, but when you're stacking bricks like a one-woman construction crew, that confidence starts looking more like sketch comedy than killer instinct. She walks with the swagger of a 10-year vet but plays like someone who just discovered basketball through TikTok tutorials.
About Angel Reese.
Yeah.
You called her garbage compared to Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I love black people. Mwah, 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 mwah. But I think sometimes we do play the race card too much. This ain't racial. This is about sports. This is about athletic ability. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at Caitlin Clark's game, who's very reminiscent of a Steph Curry based on her range and shooting the three, plus everything else she does.
Swagger's cool. Confidence is part of the game. But there's a razor-thin line between having that edge and living in straight-up delusion. Right now, Angel Reese is starring in her own fantasy highlight reel, where the motto is, let it fly, even if it airballs and sparks 5 straight turnovers. What's even funnier is how the commentators bend over backwards to excuse it, like it's their 9-to-5. She brings energy, they say. Yeah, so does a car crash. She's got presence. Sure, so does a traffic cone. Presence only matters when it actually impacts the game, not when it's just standing around hyped up after committing a fast break foul and acting like it's a highlight. That's the brutal reality of the spotlight. Every mistake turns into a meme, every missed assignment becomes part of the blooper reel. And somehow, despite it all, she still gets the minutes, still gets the touches, still gets the spotlight. Meanwhile, the rest of the roster just quietly adapts to her chaos, orbiting like they're trapped in her gravitational pull. She's treated like the center of the universe, the so-called basketball sun, burning bright while everything else scorches in the background. As long as the stat line looks decent, the system keeps rolling. Even if it means the team suffers in silence.
Worst basketball player ever. Like, do y'all guys don't understand this? She only made 2 points with 12 rebounds. She missed a couple of shots and she missed a rebound, bro. She only made 12 rebounds. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 12.
But eventually, reality hits. The turnovers stack up. The shot selection nosedives. And that fake hustle act, it wears thin fast. Because fans who actually watch the games, not just repost the highlights, start to catch on. Those flashy box scores? Pure fool's gold. Hype doesn't win games. Execution does. Sometimes the so-called face of the league is really just a mask, covering missed layups, busted sets, and footwork so sloppy it belongs on a blooper reel. Sure, go ahead and hype up that dominant 14-point, 12-rebound outing. Just don't mention the 9 turnovers, the clogged paint, the teammates completely out of rhythm, or the scoreboard flashing blow-up numbers, because behind every double-double is a double shot of delusion, and a stat sheet that screams louder than anything else, turnover machine.